Yeah, a lot happened last night, you guys. But first to the gubernatorial results in Florida. Congressman Byron Donalds easily clinched the GOP nomination in this crowded primary. The longtime Trump ally benefited from the president's endorsement, beating several other candidates, including Florida Lieutenant Governor Jay Collins. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, whose term limited stayed out of the primary. But Donalds, who could become the state's first black governor, says he anticipates DeSantis' support heading into November. He will now face David Jolly, a Republican turned Democrat.
As a Republican Party, we have set the standard here in Florida. Ron DeSantis has done a great job as governor, and it's about keeping the wins that he's brought to our state going forward, but also building for our future, making sure that we can balance the growth with our agricultural lands and our conservation areas, because Florida is the best state in America, and we're not going to stop anytime soon.
Meantime, progressives in the Sunshine State are celebrating Angie Nixon's victory in the Democratic Senate primary. This is a major upset, guys, with Nixon beating Alex Vindeman, who was a former top security national official. He was a witness in President Trump's first impeachment trial. He had been backed by other Democrats, including Senators Mark Kelly and Tammy Duckworth. But progressives did see a loss in the 25th congressional district, where DSA-backed candidate Oliver Larkin failed to prevail against the incumbent Jared Moskowitz. Moskowitz saying in a statement, Democratic voters sent a clear message. I faced a challenge from the DSA. They threw everything at me, and I didn't change who I am or what I believe. And the voters overwhelmingly chose the independent-minded approach I've brought to Congress. Looking now to Florida's 20th congressional district, where Debbie Wasserman Schultz won against Elijah Manley. This was a pretty controversial race for Schultz. She faced some criticism for running in the heavily black district. She chose to run in this district after the state redrew its maps, but last night Schultz was defiant.
We can make sure that people can go to work and afford their gas, that people don't have to shut their small businesses down because they can't serve their customers. And we're going to make sure we fight those damn Republicans and shut our democracy.
And in Alaska, incumbent Republican Dan Sullivan and Democrat Mary Peltola will advance in the Senate primary. The top four candidates advance to the general election by ranked choice voting. Democrats are eyeing this seat as one of their top flip races this November.
As I was sailing, sick in my ocean, I spied that cold algo in the chicks they was scheming. First you do your blood tip, I called your bills, water, and guess what? The deep will drag you under. And the devil take that algo, cocking me cannons in your body, check 'em with both the barrels. Guess what? Guess what? Everything will be okay. Guess what day it is? It's hump day.
Come get your boy. Jerry's back, baby. That's great. Jerry's back. You feel that energy? Yeah, baby. Okay. Come on. Got that meme energy back on the show. We didn't try and stop it. I brought it back as soon as we got the coast is clear. We love Jerry. They just nuked all of the AI channels and started massively demonetizing anybody who's using AI. So we love Jerry. The memes are back, baby. Okay. That was a shot to the arm. So did Fauci become like a mom? Like, so we threw Fauci into the COVID pool, the COVID swamp, like mixed with the vaccine, and then became like a monster? He sign up for the... Did he go trans? Did he sign up for the WNBA? That's what the show's about today. Oh, man, baby. Today is Wednesday, August 19th, 2026. More ex-NBA players declare for the WNBA draft. It is a nightmare for the WNBA. And we think we know what's actually happening here. It's a little dangerous for our current timeline and moment. We think we know what's actually going on. and it's it's very controversial, or maybe it's not. We think that there's already men playing in the WNBA. I mean, that's that. We speak on behalf of the internet and the chat, and that's why they won't define biological men and women. So prove us wrong. Go do DNA test. I just got my DNA test, and I'm 100% that biatch. Speaking of a biatch, Dr. Fauci's senior aide gets thrown in prison. A prison biatch. Here we go. Mike Collins is on the show. He's a congressman from Georgia. He's running against John Ossoff, who has the next smooth brain libtard conspiracy theory that Donald Trump's having an affair with one of his staffers. We're going to talk with him about that and a number of other things. Very interesting guy. Governor Greg Abbott is on the show. He's coming in hot. I was about to say Hot Wheels, but Jasmine Crockett already beat me to that one. Greg Abbott is going to roll into the show. Jennifer Say is on the show. She is the woman who created the XXXY MCA brand that is getting thrown out of the WNBA. So anybody who wears chromosomal t-shirts, t-shirts that just say basic biology, they get thrown out of the WNBA now. We got to go try this. ALX, Klein, we got to go try this. Klein, is Klein going to wear a dress? Can Klein do it? Is Klein going to wear a dress? Klein's been known to dress up in outfits for the show. He dressed up as a lib once and trolled libs in Chicago. Is Klein, can I get you to dress up as one of these dudes in the WNBA? Can we do it? We'll find out, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. Here is today's show. We're excited. Brought to you by Earnhouse. Earn from your house. Earnhouse. German spelling of Earnhouse. Ladies and gentlemen, the internet allows you to give your opinions freely all day long, but you can get paid to give your opinions online. That's very interesting. You can also work from home, and everybody likes that. They actually did a study where the happiest men are the men with the shortest commute. The happiest men are the men who have like the shortest time stuck in traffic. You can earn from your house. This is nice. This segment, sponsored by Earnhouse, describes for you, ladies and gentlemen, how you can provide real customer feedback and get paid for it. You can get cash. You can choose from 100 gift cards. You can earn right from your house. You can decide what kind of feedback or surveys you want to take. And so before you head back to the comment section, jump on in, go to earnhouse.com/Benny right now and create a free account. If you're watching, listening in the app, find Earnhouse link in the description or show notes. Tap it. Here we go. Earnhouse.com/Benny. Create a free account now. Get paid for your opinion. Hey, cool. Great gig, honestly. So we have opinions. We have a lot of opinions, and they're kind of offensive. Oh, sorry, Klein, my screen. Thank you. They're kind of offensive, and let me explain why. They have to do with sex toys, and I want to architect for you where I think, and we've been studying this, the whole transgender madness in the WNBA started, and it started with dildos being thrown onto the court in the WNBA. And that's just a matter of fact. This was every single summer, the WNBA becomes a new flashpoint for the culture war and a new laughingstock for the world. And last summer, there's something called Dildo Gate. And I'm not trying to be naughty. It just is what it is, okay? The people were throwing sex toys onto the court. And I don't know, ALX, Danny, how many, we cataloged this. There were 50 of them thrown. They eventually had to institute a no bag policy. They instituted much harsher checks to ensure that sex toys, colorful sex toys, weren't being brought into the WNBA. Then they have checks on whether men are actually playing in the WNBA. Well, one of the people that was hit by this was Sophie Cunningham. One of the people that were hit by, let's just try and be polite here, a flying sex toy, a flying, piece of rubber, was Sophie Cunningham. And this had a profound effect on her. And I think she said, I don't want any dicks in the WNBA. I think Sophie Cunningham said, I don't want to have to I don't want to have to make sex or sexual objects or being a man like a thing in the WNBA. Oh, there's the timeline. Okay, well, thank you, Danny. I knew Danny would have. I knew Danny would have the official dildo throw timeline for the WNBA. Oh boy. Okay, here we go. Just a second, ladies and gentlemen. Let me load this up here. So again, I'm not trying to be naughty. We're not trying to like just make a silly joke here that's now a year old, August 9th, 2025. This was exactly a year ago. And Sophie Cunningham spoke out against this and said this has been a brazen episode of spectator throwing phallic-shaped green sex toys on the court during a WNBA game, and they hit Sophie Cunningham. And she said, enough. Washington Post, thank you, Washington Post, for our exclusive timeline here of how this was happening, and it was happening, and the WNBA was doing nothing about it. So what happened? I just wanted to show you that this league run by a bunch of woke women didn't know exactly how to respond to this. First they screamed, then they scolded, then they cried, then they had a lot of meetings, and they eventually had to crack down on this because it was starting to spiral out of control. It was hitting the players, and we're not advocating for that, obviously. But we think that's your villain or hero. Actually, we think that's your hero origin story of Sophie Cunningham. And it's a cautionary tale because Sophie Cunningham is now out as the most popular WNBA player. I think that's not even debatable. Sophie Cunningham's the most popular NBA player, might be the most famous WNBA player. Maybe to those who don't follow the sport, maybe those who are just casual cultural observers like me, there's way more commentary about Sophie Cunningham than anybody else in that profession. Why? Because Sophie Cunningham said, I don't want any dicks in the WNBA. Sophie Cunningham probably still has PTSD from last summer and said, I don't want men in women's sports. And this should be something that is empirical for someone playing in the WNBA. What does the W stand for? And this has made Sophie Cunningham, look at her game last night. Look at this. Have you ever seen a sold out WNBA game? Most of the time, WNBA games look like people look about as happy as the people standing in line at the DMV, except for there's less of them. The DMVs are often way more packed than a WNBA game. The courtside seats are empty. All the seats are empty. They never look like this. This is a sold out arena to watch Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark play. Both those women happen to be beautiful. They happen to be talented. They happen to be white in a diversity, in a DEI league, in a league that values above all else hatred of white people and the national anthem and so on. And so, we're not trying to make that a thing, but it is a thing when Sophie Cunningham hops up on the bar after the game and starts singing courtesy of the red, white, and blue. How can you not love this? Listen. Come on. This is Patriot. So this is a woman who knows what a woman is. And all she's asking for is to just protect young women, and she didn't apologize. So she got all the pressure the world put on her, and then she didn't apologize. And instead, she's dancing in their faces. Oh, that's the energy. Now, she's been punched in the face for this. She got a full mouthful of blood for this over the weekend. But who cares? These are the sacrifices that you make to become an absolute legend. And that's what Sophie Cunningham has become. And she's become this because she's standing up for, women in women's sports. The WNBA has no idea what the W stands for. They're a victim of their own design. So I'm trying to accelerate now because the WNBA didn't, let's jump back to the timeline because this is what happened last night. Because the WNBA didn't act fast enough in, let's just call it what it is, Dildo Gate. Okay? Here's the mainstream corporate media reporting. I'm not trying to be naughty or like make crude jokes just for fun, but this is what happened, and it happened a lot. And the WNBA didn't crack down on it. They let it get out of control. They let they let it spiral through inaction and cowardice. And the players started to get hit, frankly, on the court. Well, if they let men play, that's exactly what's going to happen. And men are now signing up en masse for the WNBA. Because the WNBA, the moment that Inez Cantor and Royce White, who was on our show last week, the moment that the WNBA falters or wavers on this thing, the moment that they say, oh, we don't know, you're going to open the floodgates. The WNBA had to simply immediately come over the top and say, a woman is obviously a woman assigned at birth. If you need further testing, then we will be giving free chromosome tests to anybody in the WNBA, or maybe we will obligate them to take a chromosome test. The XX will be proof that you belong in the WNBA. You will not be able to plastic surgery your way out of it. There's no amount of makeup that you can wear. There's no amount of dresses that you can wear that makes your chromosomes different from XX or XY. There's only 2 versions of them. And these dudes right here have an XY chromosome. They wouldn't be able to enter the WNBA based on these standards. But the WNBA didn't say this. Instead, they faltered and wagged their fingers. You have like a bunch of woke women lock themselves in a corporate boardroom for 19 hours, talk about their feelings. All of them affirm each other. Every single one of them is like there in order to like validate each other's feelings. Okay. And after 19 hours, they walk out and all they have is like a nasty gram for the men trying to sign up to the NBA. And then no definition of a woman. They have not solved the problem after 19 hours. And because they didn't solve the problem, now this. This was last night in the WNBA game in Las Vegas, where a bunch of dudes declared that they will be joining the WNBA, and they showed up with mustaches and makeup on and dresses. The security guard is all of us. The security guard is all of us. What is going on here, man? And then I love, is this Megan Rapinoe right there? Is that Megan Rapinoe? Iconic image. 2 Americas. Here are 2 Americas right here. There you go. Don't laugh. WNBA players are asking for this. Here's WNBA star, loosely defined, I don't know who this is, Gabby Williams, saying, yes, let men play in the WNBA.
Discourse around trans athletes and what they can compete in. I would welcome a trans athlete on my team or against my team.
Okay, they say, let them do it. Here's a coach for the Golden State Valkyrie. And her name is Natalie Nakase. She's the head coach. And she said, yes, bring on the men. Let them all ball with my team. Please. That's what she said. Now, many people are saying, well, wait a second. If the WNBA is going to allow this, then clearly there must be maybe men playing in the WNBA right now. That's got to be the only reason that they don't do gender testing right now. And there are some very compelling TikToks out there about who those people might be. Ladies and gentlemen, don't need to worry about doing any deep science on any of this. All you have to do is worry about looking at the bank accounts. That's a major motivator, a huge motivator for most human beings, okay? And as Cantor is out with a new banger saying, listen, I've already spoken with a bunch of NBA players, and they would earn a lot more in the WNBA. They'd be a much better player. They'd be much better compensated. They'd make millions more dollars in the WNBA. So now many more NBA players are going to sign up for the WNBA draft. And these are NBA players. Get a load of this.
Identifying as women. Now listen to me very carefully. So far, I have spoken with 2 former NBA players, 3 G League players, and 3 European players. They have all said that if the WNBA won't change the rules, we are ready to join the movements and we are considering coming out as women and putting our names in the 2027 WNBA draft. Hear me out. The NBA G League pays players $45,000 a year, while the WNBA top players earn $1.4 million. Those men could earn an extra $1,355,000 a year by just identifying as women. Rules are rules.
Well, why don't we just identify as woman? This is what Inez Cantor is saying. So Inez Cantor is asked, are you a woman? And he said, by the definition that the WNBA gives, yes. Yes, I am a woman. Because the WNBA has in their collective bargaining agreement that any woman can play for the WNBA, but you have to be a woman. Well, the woke women of the WNBA have declared to all of us and all of society that a woman is simply anybody who identifies as one. You can go read the bylaws right now. They have no other definition for it. So this is, sort of the laws of gravity when it comes to politics or timelines. I wish there were there are a lot of things if I could travel back in time, there are a lot of things I'd put in the United States Constitution and our Bill of Rights and explain to our founding fathers, the new threats that they couldn't possibly imagine. H-1B abuses from India, Islamization of our country, the catastrophic laws that slaughter children or abuse our Second Amendment rights, and or just maybe right at the top. You want a law to fix America right now, right at the very top. You have to be a natural born American citizen in order to serve as a judge or a member of Congress. There's a good one. Or to collect any benefits of the United States of America. Period. You have to actually be an American. How about writing into the Constitution, limitations on immigration to our country? How about writing into the Constitution, not just freedom of faith, but also taking some of the declarations of faith that were from the original 13 colonies. I mean, the Declaration of Independence itself is a prayer to Jesus Christ, the judge and almighty king of the universe. Who do you think they're referring to there in the Declaration of Independence? But just be explicit with it. Don't give any lawyer or any Supreme Court justice wiggle room on that. The same thing with birth tourism, right? Right, birthright citizenship. Nope, got to strike that. You guys don't understand this, but millions of Chinese people will try and do this to us, try and destroy our country by having birth tourism. I don't have time to explain. I have the flux capacitor and DeLorean. But anyway, there's all these things that you would change if you could go back in time. The WNBA, when it was constituted 30 years ago, never envisioned that there would be a debate over what a woman is. Everybody knew what a woman was. But now there is a debate, and they brought the debate on themselves, and so now we're here. WNBA is in panic. Panic. WNBA chiefs make decisions on trans athlete debate. They didn't make any decisions, by the way. This is a bad headline. They slammed bad faith efforts to marginalize others, but didn't define what a woman is. Instead, what they did, Royce White, Black trans lesbians matter. We have a right to exist. Instead, what they did was they kicked out women that were wearing this brand. This is the XXXY brand. We're going to have the creator of this brand on the show in just a moment here. Here are the 2 women that were wearing XXXY athletic gear, simply stating biological reality of gender. And they went to the game and they were kicked out. They were dragged out of the actual game. And then dragged afterwards. Look at this. Look at how many people flip them off in this one short video. There's one, right? Here's another lady right here. Watch this. Flips them off. Look at this. There's all these women who are attacking this mom and daughter. What is the WNBA? What a cesspool this place is. We got to go. This is like a DNC convention. We got to go and troll these people. I got to figure out, like, how do we get to the next WNBA game? Where's the closest WNBA team? There isn't a WNBA team in Florida, is there? I don't think so. Is there? I don't think so. Well, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. And then we'll jump over to Mike Collins here.
We were made to cover up our XXXY shirts at this game.
Wait, are you serious?
Yes. They gave us shirts. They gave us T-shirts during overtime and told us we had to leave.
And this is for the girl.
Or cover our shirts. This just happened.
Where were you sitting?
Floor
4-3 row.
C.
Yeah.
Third row of floor 3.
And how much were your seats?
$1,000 each around.
Yeah. And we did nothing. Like, we were just sitting there. I didn't make signs. I wanted to make signs, but I didn't. I did nothing.
They made us put our shirts on.
I did notice during the game on the Jumbotron, they put up a woman wearing a shirt that said protect trans rights or something.
She was
She's
the one who
told on
because she was made to zip up her jacket.
So she also had to zip up her jacket?
But I think
that's bullshit too. She shouldn't have to.
But they put her shirt on the Jumbotron.
I know.
It's almost like the message was made and they said, now zip it up to make it seem like they're consistent.
Yeah.
But they never were.
Yeah.
No, never are.
And why did you spend so much on tickets? Why was it important for you to be here today?
To support Sophie Cunningham and to support women in women's sports because it's just common sense.
And what's the relation here?
That's my daughter.
The WNBA forces them to, it's like Sharia law. It's like the Sharia League. It's like, it's descending into madness. The Sharia law, the Sharia League is here covering up women who want to simply defend other women. Klein, would you mind? Actually, I got it. Here we go. We asked, we received, this is the map right here. So this is so Atlanta would be the closest WNBA team for us. Well, lucky us. We actually have the future senator of the state of Georgia locked in and ready to go, who can comment on these kind of things. The Atlanta Dream is very upset about this. They actually released a statement saying, we're very sorry. We're very sorry that this happened. The WNBA made a huge mistake. We don't approve of this. This is terrible. So we're sorry about it. So the Atlanta Dream saying, we're not the bad guys here. The WNBA stepped in and did something very bad inside of our arena. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us live right now. Ooh, okay. Joining us live right now, Congressman Mike Collins from Georgia, running for Senate. Congressman, very dangerous times in Atlanta. You could get dragged out of an arena for wearing a shirt that says chromosomes are biology.
Yeah, Benny, there was two things that were going on in my head while you were playing all that. You had the line above where Cantor was talking about it, absurdity. And it always reminds me of old Rush Limbaugh when he was just illustrating absurdity by being absurd. And those men dressed as women were doing just that. And it also reminds me of the great theologian, John Wick, that always says rules and consequences. And that's what you're seeing. But this is playing out. You were talking about Sharia law there for a second. But when you think about this, Benny, this is happening from the inside out. Whether it's people like John Ossoff that has this obsession with women and making them dehumanized and objects, or whether it's the fact that you actually have Sharia law that is being pushed in this country.
That's a great question. I would love for you to ask John Ossoff that question. And I'd like to, maybe just pivot from this WNBA question into the Natalie Harp controversy at the White House. But if you're on a debate stage with John Ossoff, which I don't know if there's a debate scheduled or not.
Oh, yeah.
Is there?
Two.
There's two. Okay.
Yes,
that's
sir.
Wonderful. Okay. Fantastic. You could really tear the bark off him if you were to ask him, hey, should men be able to play in the WNBA? Would you ask that?
Yeah, I think you could start out even before that, but he and Kamala Harris had an event here last week, so I don't know when they attended that Dream game. But my question would be is, give me the definition of a woman, Asaf or Kamala, because their event here was Women for Asaf. So if you had a Women for Asaf event, you obviously should be able to give us the definition of a woman.
Of course.
But they can't and they won't. And it's because, in my opinion, at the end of the day, they want to destroy that league. And they're going to.
That's exactly what would happen. I mean, listen, we all watched the women's soccer team, Team USA, and we watched them get destroyed by a 15-year-old club out of Dallas. There are fundamental biological differences between men and women. It's totally evil and perverse to put them, together on the same playing field. That's not. It's not reality. It's not human reality, and it's so unfair to the women. It's abuse, I would argue. But John Ossoff would probably be for it. He probably wouldn't be able to answer that. It's so interesting because the Atlanta Dream, they're like a good team and everything. What would be your advice here? You're pretty good at the internet. You're pretty good at thinking through this stuff. What would be your advice to the WNBA right now?
I think that they should turn course. There's something called common sense out there, and they're not using it. And if they would use it and protect these young ladies and make sure that their sport continues, then they need to address this as soon as possible. Because those 8 guys are dead serious, and they have a right to go and try out for the WNBA because there are no rules or there is no clear definition on what a woman is. But Benny, you got to look at this from a nationwide standpoint on what that's actually happening in this country. You've got the far left socialist movement that is taking over politics. And in our case right here in Georgia with John Ossoff, he has hitched his wagon to that crowd. I mean, he went right up there and has endorsed that Abdul El Said out of Michigan, the Democrat Socialist of America candidate. That he is getting most of his money, only about 18 to 20% of his money actually comes from Georgia. The more people that they can keep in power and put in power, the further left that they can push this thing into chaos and into socialism and communism. And that's the whole thing at the end. But you take a look at what the Democrat Socialists of America stand for. Just look at their platform. This is absurd. It's off the chart. And if we don't stop John Ossoff right here in Georgia, and I know I'm ringing the alarm bells, and I've been doing this. We've got to, Benny. We have got to stop this guy right here. And people ask me all the time, well, he comes, he talks good. Look, well, yeah, whatever. Look at his voting record. Look at how this guy's voted. Look at who's funding him and look at what they actually want to do. And if you want to see examples of what is happening and what they want to do, you just played a great video of it.
You'll get them, man. You'll get them if you just say, how many genders are there?
That's it.
Should men be able to play in the WNBA? And what is a woman? You'll get them, man. You'll get them.
Here's another one. Where was Ossoff when the Lake and Riley murder happened? Never said a word. Where was he when the president of the United States during the State of the Union addressed Laken's mother who was up in the balcony? He wouldn't even stand up. This guy has got a pattern after pattern of attacking women and just dehumanizing them. And then the latest example was Natalie Hart. I mean, that woman doesn't even have anything to do with our campaign. But yet, no, he thought that would get him in more good graces with that far left crowd over there. So he just starts attacking her for no reason. And that's the message that we've got to get out. And we're getting it out here in the state of Georgia. People are beginning to pay attention. You see the polls are tightening, and they're tightening fast. And we haven't really even started spending any money yet. Mm. So this race is tightening. We've got to take care of this guy right here in the state of Georgia so that he doesn't become a pariah for the whole country. Because I'm telling you, Ben, they are going to run him as president of the United States. He will be the DSA candidate. There is a reason that DSA opened an office in Atlanta, Georgia. There is a reason that John Ossoff votes 92% of the time with Bernie Sanders. The reason is he's one of them.
That's very interesting because, of course, they model themselves after moderates, and they do. He even has the same logo as Barack Obama. They're running the same game.
It's a Trojan
they're putting
horse.
they're putting candy paint on a real communist here.
Yeah,
And
this is a Trojan horse.
yeah.
He wants you to see one thing, but if you want to get past that, and I tell everybody, don't take my word for anything now, for nothing. Go look at our voting records. And Benny, in this race right here, holy cow, man, this is probably the most crystal clear race in the country. That's why it's the number one race in the country to flip. You've got me, somebody who's only been in the House for one full term. You got John Ossoff. He's only been in the Senate for one full term. Thank the good Lord. Then I'm just a blue collar, small business guy, been in the private sector all my life. Look at John Ossoff in the cycle that he fits. He is nothing but a trust fund kid who's never had a real job in his life. Kind of reminds you of that socialist they were talking about in New York, where his parents bought him everything. These are just rich kids who think that they need the power to rule over you and your life. And they're destroying everything. And they don't care about that. What they care at the end of the day is make sure that they have power. And that's what they're going to do with John Ossoff. Why do you think they spent millions and thousands of dollars on makeup for this guy? I mean, they got to do everything they can to make him at least look the part.
Okay. So wait a second. They've spent that much on makeup on John Ossoff? Really?
Oh, yeah. He went out to Hollywood and hired one of the Hollywood makeup artists out there. I mean, I agree with President Trump. He still looks like Pee Wee Herman, but hey, you know, maybe the makeup artist dealt with Pee Wee. I don't know, you know.
So you think put this up? We'll let the chat decide. Here we go. This is John Ossoff engaging in a despicable slander of President Trump and Natalie Harp, who's a lovely woman who serves the president and is like attacking young staffers now who benefited from some great Trump policies. I think she has a life-threatening illness. And this is John Ossoff attacking President Trump and insinuating that Donald Trump's having an affair with his staffer. And it's a pretty grotesque thing to do. And in response, Donald Trump called him Pee Wee Herman. And he does really look a lot like Pee Wee Herman. Jerry, I don't know if you can grab that meme. I know you're a fan of memes. There's like a great meme where somebody made John Ossoff Pee Wee Herman. Can our producers try and hunt that down, Jerry? I'm not sure. I think it's DFF. I'm not sure. Let's see if we can find that. Anyway, the point is that this is news to me that John Ossoff hired a makeup artist out of Hollywood to look more like Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah, that's our senator right there.
What's going on? Maybe we can just close the chapter on this. What's your statement on these insinuations from John Ossoff about the president and his staff?
It just shows what the punk move that he is and the punk that he is. You know, they're using the same playbook that they used on Donald Trump that they're using on me. There's no way this guy can talk about his record, because his record is raising your taxes. His record is destroying your health care. His record is those open borders that allowed these people to flood in, like Jose Alberta that murdered Lake and Riley. Now, Benny, this is nothing more than common sense versus this communist craziness over there. And he doesn't care who he attacks. I mean, you see that. Natalie Harp doesn't have anything to do with our campaign. Nothing. She's just a young lady got there doing her job. And anybody with just a slight bit of common sense sees that. But this guy's got to take it to a whole nother level. And the reason of that is because he thinks it's going to garner favor from his far left crazy activists that are out there supporting this guy. They are pushing millions and millions of dollars into Georgia. And I tell you, Ben, I can use the help out there. I mean, if people want to look, go check us out. You can look me up at MikeCollinsGA.com all day long, and you'll look at what I have done, what I've voted for, how I've been able to deliver common sense policy. Benny, there's not too many people that can get on your show and say that they had two pieces of legislation signed into law in just 2 years by two different presidents. Good common sense policy that have helped improve the lives, not just of the people of Georgia, but across this country. And I've done that. But you look at who I'm running against, John Ossoff, he can't say that. That's why he gets all of this ginned up through his base over there with things like attacking a young woman who, you're right, she had a very hard illness and overcame that and is just doing her job. It's senseless. It's absurd. It's really despicable.
It is despicable. It's the lowest form of politics. I like the Pee Wee Herman moniker. I would rather like him have a different moniker, which would be John Ossoff, somebody who we have finally uncovered engaged in voter fraud. And that's, I think, my final question to you, which is what's going on in Fulton County? We've all seen the raids. We've heard rumors that there's going to be some major discoveries made here. Any thoughts on that? This was, of course, the dubious 2020 election. And even the Democrat county commissioner is saying that they expect arrests on this. Well, wow. Okay. What's going on there?
And here's the bottom line on elections. People will show up when they have confidence in elections. FBI Director Patel, he came by and paid us a visit in Fulton County, and I understand he took out a number of boxes with him when he left his visit. People want people held accountable. They want accountability. Take a look at the state of Georgia. Every constitutional office that we have, with the exception of 2 statewide, are held by Republicans, whether it's the governor, lieutenant governor, insurance commissioner, ag commissioner, go down the line. But when you get to our 2 U.S. senators, they're both Democrat. It doesn't match up to the Georgia and how we vote. We're going to make sure that these elections are safe. We're going to make sure that we have enough people out there watching. Good Lord willing, Cash Patel and them, if they find stuff, but we're going to hold people accountable, and they need to go to jail. Not just for election fraud, but there's so much waste, fraud, and abuse that's been going on in this country. And it's been because we've had Democrats in control for far too long, just perpetrating this, enabling this. People like John Ossoff, who doesn't care about that. But it's time we got down to the bottom of this stuff and make sure that people understand that there are rules and there are consequences to those rules, and they need to go to jail for it.
So, could you be more specific? Who needs to go to jail for this? You're saying that you believe that there was fraud that happened in 2020 in Georgia. I'm
saying that the FBI director felt like they need to come by. The DOJ is taking a look at this, and whoever it is, I don't care who it is, but whoever it is, if they did commit fraud and it is proven that they did, they need to be held accountable. Period. This is our God-given right.
That's right.
And we shouldn't have it stolen from us.
Nobody said the name Fannie Willis in a long time. Boy, what's happening there? Could you just, in closing, could you give us a quick snapshot? Like what's going on there?
Yeah. I have not heard or seen anything out of her in a while, so I can't give you much update on her, Benny.
Okay, all right. We have a update for you, which are some of the memes some of the John Ossoff, Pee Wee Herman memes. Also, man, he really is. Look, can you put this up, Klein? What you made? Look at this.
Ring the bell for fun.
He's straight up stealing Barack Obama's logo. Look at that. They're not even trying to be subtle about it.
No,
Congressman.
They're not subtle about it. That's why he didn't care what he said, even about Natalie. He is just a pompous ass.
Yes, he is. And he's a pompous ass that seemed very, very scared when they started investigating voter fraud and then slandered the president of the United States. I don't know, guys. Can you pop up? There it is. That's the one I want. That's the one I want. Pop that one up, Klein, if you wouldn't mind. Can we just do one quick meme review with you, Congressman?
Yeah, you're getting previews over there, Benny.
All right, here we go. Here's John Ossoff as Pee Wee. It totally works, by the way. This totally.
You can't tell me that's as close as it gets.
That's totally works. Makeup and all. Yeah. Okay. All right. Didn't know he had a Hollywood makeup artist. Boy, oh boy, howdy. We got a Barack Obama on our hands here. Thank you very much, Congressman. Everybody go to Mike Collins. Is it Mike Collins?
MikeCollinsGA.com.
MikeCollinsGA.com. We had it up. We'll put the website up one more time here.
Shoot, yeah. We'd love to have you join the convoy. Now, I'm in the trucking business, so you're going to get some trucking lingo.
Okay.
But we could use your help. We could use anything you could do for us. Make sure you get the word out there. That's the biggest thing. We are just ringing the alarm bells as loud as we can to make sure that this is not only Georgia's problem, but they get this rascal back in there. This is going to be the United States of America's problem because they're going to run this guy.
That's exactly right. It'd be a lot harder to run if he loses his race, it'll be a damaged brand, and we would love to see that.
He's going to lose his race because I'm going to be the next U.S. Senator from Georgia.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. I like it. This is the Georgia that I know. This is the Georgia that I know. Calling him a pompous ass and then memeing him as Pee Wee Herman. We hope you're posting lots of those memes, Congressman. We're thankful for you. Everybody follow Mike Collins here. He has hundreds of thousands of followers. And then fight for Georgia. Thank you, Congressman.
Thank you, Benny. Appreciate it.
We are calling a patriot here. We have Governor Greg Abbott, the great governor of Texas, lined up and ready to go. A great Texas company is Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is the backbone of our show. We take it everywhere, and we're going to Dallas tomorrow. In fact, we're going to Lubbock tomorrow, in fact. And we're very excited to be in Texas. Patriot Mobile is a company in Texas. They constantly keep us connected and keep us speaking with Patriots when we're on the road. You should sign up for Patriot Mobile today. Go to patriotmobile.com/Benny. Call 972-PATRIOT. Use promo code Benny for a free month of service. patriotmobile.com/Benny. 972-PATRIOT today. Calling a Patriot right now. It's the great governor of the great state of Texas, Greg Abbott. Live, locked, and loaded. Governor, welcome back to the program. How are you this morning?
Doing great. Hey, listen, it was great to see you in Houston, Texas. Great to see you again today.
It was an amazing time. I didn't know that you had a pet elephant.
I was going to say, yeah, the one thing I don't have today is a big elephant.
This was incredible. And then you trained the elephant to pee right in front of the press, which was awesome. I couldn't, it's very special. I don't know how you even do that kind of training.
Well, no idea how many takes that took.
Can you, ALX, would you mind grabbing that clip? Ryan, I know that you were there with me. Like, can we grab that? It was like one of the funniest things ever. They have a giant elephant in the state of Texas. Awesome. Anyway, we have never played this clip on the show, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about Texas and keeping Texas, Texas.
Right.
It's pretty obvious that the left has aims at Texas. They've been pretty abrupt about this for years. They want to change Texas. They would see it as the crown jewel of winning forever in perpetuity. And maybe we can just start right there. Like, how do we keep Texas, Texas, Governor?
Well, several things. First is the backdrop of what you're talking about, and that is this goes back to at least when Beto ran for the first time against Ted Cruz for the United States Senate back in 2016, but also when Beto ran against me for governor. And listen, there have literally been about $500 million of Democrat money that been incinerated that by the money pouring in from outside the state of Texas on these Democrat candidates, only to lose it all. And Benny, you know, one of the things that's trying to turn Texas blue are not so much Democrats in Texas, but Democrats in California, Democrats in Illinois, and New York, and these other blue states that are pouring the money in. Reid Hoffman gave a $10 million check to Tallarico. Tallarico obviously is one of the main challenges we have in the state of Texas right now with regard to making sure we keep Texas, Texas. And one reason why it's a challenge is because he's raised so much money. He likely is going to raise $2 or $3 or maybe even $400 million. And what we got, I know. And so what we got to be able to do is to make sure we are able to match that. Let me tell you the value set of him being able to raise that amount of money. His record is absolutely crazy. You and others have done a great job spotlighting all the crazy things that he said. If we have the resources where we can identify to the public through ads and things like that about the leftist votes that he's taken in the state legislature, we're going to be able to ensure that Texans do not vote for him. Some easy examples. Listen, he has a record of supporting defunding the police. As you know, he supports doing away with the prisons. He supported open border policies. He did something in Texas which is a sin and should automatically disqualify him from office. In Texas, we believe in cutting taxes. What Tallarico did, he voted in favor of a state income tax, in favor of a death tax in Texas. He actually voted to increase property taxes in Texas. When voters learn about that, they're going to realize this is the wrong guy. Then, of course, you get to things that you guys have talked about before, his gender ideology, his sexualization of children. But it's more than just comments. He took votes on this. He voted to have boys and girls sports. He voted to have gender modification of children. And average Texans, 90% of Texans are against these votes and so many others. And so I think once we have the resources to combat what he's been able to fund himself, because of his funding, he's been able to paint himself as a choir. Let me tell you that this is just crazy. He has a TV ad up running right now, taking credit for what I was able to achieve, and that is to cut property taxes. He says he was for cutting property taxes. The fact is he voted against the property tax cuts that we were able to put in place in Texas law. He needs to have the information out there against him about what he really did. When Texans are fully informed, I believe Ken Paxton is going to win that Texas United States Senate race.
Ken was on yesterday. He made a great case for himself, but we didn't get a chance to talk about this. This is, I think this should be disqualifying. This is James Tallarico trying to eat barbecue with a dainty little napkin here. Always have the image is very important. This is clearly the most uncomfortable he's been in his life. He is a vegan. He started a little vegan caucus. And this is blasphemy in Texas that should be added to his long list of blasphemies, frankly, calling God transgender, saying that Jesus was pro-abortion. I mean, these are the kind of things that, would get you burned at the stake in a different era. Sins against the church, right?
Well, listen, to be clear, we can't tell for certain if that is barbecue or actually kind of brown tofu. And so he could be, who knows what he's eating. But Benny, I got to tell you this, because there's putting aside what his choice is for eating. He made a choice in his vote. Texas is the #1 cattle and beef state in the United States of America. And we passed a bill saying we were going to ban lab-grown meat in the state of Texas. He voted against that. Tallarico wants lab-grown meat, which is the most horrific sin you could commit against our cattle industry in the state of Texas.
So you talked about men and women's sports. He voted against a ban on men and women's sports. The Dallas Wings is a very popular WNBA team, and they're having quite a moment right now as they try and grapple with what the W means in the WNBA. What would be your advice to the Dallas Wings? And more importantly, what would James Tallarico say if you put him on the spot and asked him, should men play in women's sports? Should NBA players be able to join the WNBA?
Right. So I think Tallarico would be a deer in headlights because he's one of these people who can't define what a woman is. So remember this episode. This wasn't like long ago. This is recent. Where these crazy radical Democrats, whether they be in congressional hearings or things like this, where people like Tallarico, they cannot come out and say exactly what a woman is. But Benny, I got to tell you, the WNBA looks like it's going to be a whole lot more competitive. Because there's a former member of Houston Rockets, former members of some other men's basketball teams. They're putting themselves out there for the draft. We got a 6'9" forward who can palm the ball, who can dunk on anybody. And these games are going to get pretty exciting.
What would be your advice? What would be your advice? I believe that protections for men, this obviously passed at the Supreme Court level, but also on the state level in Texas. So would it be allowed, the WNBA team in Dallas, to have men join the team?
So we did pass a law, no men and women's sports, and it applies in our public schools and our higher education. But we haven't banned men and women's sports in the WNBA.
Got it.
And so there's a lot of guys who think, you know what, I think I can make some pretty good money here.
That's right. That's exactly right. Okay.
But I'll tell you what, I think those guys may get embarrassed going against Caitlin Clark or Sophie Cunningham. Those are two very good women basketball players. And if anybody can compete with men, it would be those women.
My goal is to get Sophie Cunningham to run for governor of Indiana or replace the Senate in Indiana. Great. You have replaced a border policy that was entirely broken, and your entire state looked like Ceuta, Spain. My entire timeline, Governor, is the horrors of open borders once again visited upon the West. And it's happening in real time in Europe. And everybody is sharing this with shock and awe. But this is what your border looked like under Joe Biden and what it will look like again. Can you please give us a cautionary tale? How did Texas fix this? And what are you doing, right now?
Sure. So we had to totally reinvent the way states respond to things like this. And I did things that were never done before. And where we directly challenged, historical United States law because I declared Texas as a sovereign state has the constitutional right to secure our own sovereignty. And then I applied that constitutional principle. I deployed 10,000 National Guard to the border. I deployed our Department of Public Safety to the border, and we started building our own border wall, the only state to ever build our own border wall. We put those buoys in the river to deny illegal entry there. We built hundreds of miles of razor wire border barrier that was built by the Texas National Guard. And so we actually repelled and denied entry into the state of Texas of people trying to cross illegally. In addition to that, I signed the toughest state law that makes it a crime to enter the state illegally from Mexico, where people can be arrested and jailed because of that. We created our own court system where we could immediately arrest these people coming across the border illegally, put them in jail. They would be there for 6 months or longer. They would have a criminal record, and then they could be deported. Texas now, under the law that is signed, every law enforcement officer in the state of Texas can now be involved in the deportation process. So we are ready to go. Understand what our mindset here is in the state of Texas. We are now working with the Trump administration, and we have the lowest illegal border crossings ever. But our job is not just to make sure that we secure the border for the 4 years of the Trump administration. Our job is to ensure we will secure the border forever. And we have the tools and resources and capabilities now to achieve that goal.
I have this map for you that includes Texas, and it's a very important map. It's the defense militarization of the border map that shows that the DOD has taken effectively half the border and said that these are going to be defense zones that the American military, if you cross them, you are trespassing on military land, and we have military weaponry and rules against you doing that. So you'll be in a lot of that is, I mean, it looks like about half of your border with Mexico is now a defense zone for the DOW. So, Governor, is this a smart strategy? Do you approve of this strategy? Would you like for it to be the whole border? What's your thoughts on this?
So leave the map up because I want the audience to understand this. So first of all, the length of the entire border for Texas with Mexico is 1,250 miles. If you look at the region of the map, it looks like what you're talking about begins in the Gulf of America and stretches near to where the top of the area is before you get to the Big Bend. It says the Rio Grande right below it. That is where that and then El Paso are the two large areas where almost all of the illegal crossings take place. The Big Bend Park, which is at the bottom of the tip, I started to point out here. You couldn't see, but you can't see with me pointing. But listen, know this, and what is shown on that map would address about 80 to 90% of all the illegal crossings into the state of Texas. It needs to be done. It's a great job. That's where we deployed most of our resources. And when we did what we did, we were able to reduce illegal immigration into the state of Texas by 85%. We've been able to reduce fentanyl deaths in Texas by more than 40% because of the actions that we've taken. The outline of what the federal government is doing, and when they complete getting it done, will be a lasting deterrent of illegal immigration into the state of Texas.
What about this new border wall that we're seeing pop up? We have video here. I believe this is from Texas. I'm not 100% sure, but it's a double wall that is now being built. It looks like a containment area for the first wall, which would be very, very smart strategically. Is this going to be the new style of border wall in Texas?
It could be, and I can't identify that myself. It looks like it could be parts of Texas, and assuming it is, obviously that's a great strategy. And one, because here's the deal. Sometimes there will be people who get across the first wall, but there will be electronic devices that will be monitoring all of those walls. If anybody climbs the first wall coming from Mexico, they will be on camera, and they will be alerting Border Patrol. And before they can get to the second wall, while they're looking like in the DNZ zone right there, they will be apprehended. They will be arrested. They will be prosecuted. They will have a criminal record, which will ensure not only are they denied illegal entry now, but it will be an additional crime if they try to re-enter the United States later. That additional crime will put them behind jail for a long time and then subject to immediate deportation to wherever they came from.
Can you please expound on that? And I thank you so much for your generous time here. But like, I don't think people quite understand that SB 4 in Texas allows you, the Texas government, to deport independently the illegals inside of Texas?
Sure. The strongest law any state's ever passed to protect our border, where one, we are authorizing every law enforcement officer in the state of Texas to arrest anybody who's crossed the border illegally, and then to deport them back to Mexico. I was going to say deport them where they came from. They've all come from Mexico. And so we have that capability right now. And know this also, and that is, all these laws get subject to legal challenges. We've been all the way up to the Fifth Circuit of the United States Federal Court of Appeals, and they have authorized the state to fully enforce that law at this time.
It's amazing. One final question about what do you do to eliminate the magnets that illegals have? For instance, welfare, free tuition, going to school in the state, the goodies that you get in the state of Texas. How have you eliminated those draws and those magnets for illegals?
So all kinds of things. First, for the magnets that you see in some places like California, where they're giving away free health care to illegal immigrants and things like that, we don't allow that. But also what we are doing is we are passing laws and regulations and standards, whether it be for education institutions or for hiring and other things like that, where if you're not an American citizen, you're not authorized to be a part of the workforce or participate in any activities here. So we have robust laws already cracking down on things like that, where we are eliminating the magnet to enter the state of Texas illegally.
The final question on legal immigrants. H-1B crackdowns happening on the federal level. Is it happening on the state level? And then we see that there's obviously brouhaha about Muslim foot washing stations in the airport. Everybody has seen sort of the mosque map of Texas. That seems to be existential, right, when it comes to preserving Texas culture and keeping Texas, Texas. How are you addressing that?
Sure. A couple of things. With regard to H-1B visas, I think I was the first governor and one of just only a few who put a pause on this. But let me clarify one thing up front.
Please.
States don't have the authority to authorize H-1B visas. Only the federal government does. All of us across the entire country, we have to have a federal government that will stop granting H-1B visas. And so the state doesn't authorize them. However, what I did is I put a hold on H-1B visas for our public universities, for any state agency. I'm as governor, without even any legislation taking place, I've said no more H-1B visa hirings in our public institutions until the legislature is going to have the opportunity to address it. I announced yesterday legislation I'm proposing going forward in our public schools across the state. There's zero reason why our public schools should be hiring any H-1B visa applicants to do anything in our public education system. Going back to your last thing you talked about real quick, listen, with those foot washing stations, listen, those stations are providing was categorized as an Islamic ritual, where they also have prayer beads and Qurans and things like that in there. This is a religious location in an airport. And what I did is I said that for any in Texas, these are cities that control our airports. Any city that is allowing that to take place, the state is going to be pulling the funding for those cities that they're getting from the state of Texas. Second, however, and this is important, once somebody is doing something inside the TSA checkpoint, that is controlled by the federal government. And that's why I sent a letter to Secretary Duffy saying, hey, listen, this is taking place. It is in violation of prohibitions on discrimination on the basis of religion. And the United States government and Secretary Duffy need to be able to address this problem. It's my understanding that there are two airports where this is taking place in Texas. One is Dallas-Fort Worth Airport, where I was able to shut down any new expansion of these, but we're still going after the ones that pre-existed there. But in Houston, it's my understanding that these stations are inside the TSA checkpoint, which means it's the jurisdiction of Secretary Duffy to make sure that the crackdown occurs.
Very interesting. We'll be sure to ask when he's back on the show.
Good.
And we're thankful for you, Governor. We look forward to traveling to the great state of Texas tomorrow. We'll be in Lubbock. This is the governor's social media. He's got millions of followers, one of the most popular governors in the entire country. And yeah, I hope that you look forward to working with Byron Donalds. It was a big night for us last night.
It was.
In the
He's
state
a
of
great
Florida.
guy. Good friend of mine.
Yes, that's right. Thank you, Governor Abbott. Godspeed.
Take care.
Sometimes, like, these guys are just killing it, right? Like, they're just killing it. Sometimes you're just proud of the level of competence. And it makes me really happy to see leaders that have clarity, leaders that are able to actually institute change for good and not be weak and not just do nothing. This is not a time for weak men. This is not a time for doing nothing. This is not a time for saying, let's sing Kumbaya and unite with the people who want to kill us. And that's what they want to do. I don't know how many times they have to prove that. But Bolsheviks always have the same goal in the end. And ladies and gentlemen, sleep well at night. Live in a red state. That's one option. You could get a Helix sleep mattress for another option, no matter where you live, especially maybe if you live in a blue state. If you got back pain, neck pain, if you got the kind of things that age you, right? A crink in your neck. This is something that you got to work on. A good night's sleep is the only way that you have the foundation for a good day. You have got to get your sleep. It's probably the number one thing you must do for your health. Exercise, food, nutrition, all of those things go by the wayside if you do not have the right bed. Helix Sleep Mattress has high-quality, durable beds. You can switch to them immediately and do a mattress upgrade seamlessly with 120-night sleep trial, free shipping and seamless delivery, limited lifetime warranty, and a happy Helix guarantee. And that is why the mattresses in the Johnson household are Helix mattresses. They are award-winning. Check it out for yourself. Go to helixsleep.com/Benny, up to 30% off. That's helixsleep.com/Benny for up to 30% off your Helix Sleep mattress. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Trump-backed Byron Donalds wins the Florida GOP gubernatorial primary. You know, Byron's a friend of the show. We've endorsed him for governor. He's awesome. He has been on like pretty much on a weekly basis. He's an awesome dude, and we're huge fans. Byron Donalds had a raucous Republican primary, and I'm glad it's over, to be perfectly honest with you. Byron Donalds will be the candidate. It is critically important, as Greg Abbott has shown there, to keep states like Florida red, to keep states like Texas red, and to have a continuity of leadership. This is the Trump-backed candidate, 7 Trump endorsements for Byron Donalds, and a landslide on election night. Do we have the actual numbers, ALX? There's the results. Thank you. Let's go ahead and look at the results here. Byron Donalds coming in at 47% as of right now, 800,000 votes. The next vote getter is Jay Collins at 400,000. James Fishbach got 170,000. David Jolly, who will be running against Byron Donalds, was able to pull down 700,000 votes. Still a lot. It's not something that you should take for granted. Don't take it for granted, man. Like, don't be smart, right? Every single state's a swing state, and we're seeing that all across the country. But that's why it's so critical to lock in on these issues. It's so important to walk in on these issues. He walked out to John Cena's music. Well, let's go ahead and play that, Klein, as we load up for our next guest here. There you go. John Cena. Okay, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, brand new to the show, somebody who's made quite a splash on the professional sports stage is Jennifer Say. She's the founder and CEO of XXXY Athletics. She's the athletic brand that just got banned from the WNBA. Or actually, sorry, takesy backsies. We're so sorry that we did that, but they literally dragged women out of their seats for wearing shirts that simply say, that gender is a biologic reality and you can't change it no matter how much makeup or dresses you wear or plastic surgery you get. You ain't going to be able to change your chromosomes, and that's an important thing. Jennifer Say joins the show live right now. Jennifer, welcome to the program. It's great to have you on.
Thanks for having me. Nice to meet you.
Big fan of your work. What did you think when you saw your shirts get covered up by Sharia law?
You know, it's so crazy. They just keep stepping in it, the WNBA. I don't even have to do anything now to sell shirts. They just have to ban them. It started in Seattle a few weeks ago. I don't know if you recall this, but a young girl, 16 years old, Annalie Wilson, wore our shirt, the black and green one, on the floor to watch the game. And a co-owner of the Storm cursed at her, told her she was effing insane, all these things to a girl, a 16-year-old girl. And that sort of put the t-shirt at the center of the news. And then Riley Gaines and I went to a game in Minneapolis, and Riley was told she couldn't hold a sign that said, "Thank you, Sophie." They said no names were allowed on signs. Of course, we're surrounded by signs with names on them, of course. And we were wearing our t-shirt. And then again, just 2 days ago in Atlanta, a mom was wearing the shirt I'm wearing now. And 2 minutes left in overtime, she was told she had to cover it up with like a stadium arena shirt. And she did, because she wanted to see the end of the game. It was a real nail biter, but she was with her daughter. And now, of course, as you mentioned, the WNBA has issued a non-apology, oopsie kind of statement, which I think is a big nothing burger. I mean, they had to have given direction to people. Those security guards would not have acted on their own, is my belief.
So the WNBA ordered your shirts, and here's an example of you and Riley Gaines and Sophie Cunningham wearing these shirts ringside here in was this Seattle? Was it Seattle?
That was in Minneapolis a couple weeks ago.
So first off, Sophie Cunningham tall. Tall, right?
I think over 6 feet. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm really short. I was a gymnast, so you can't really compare it to me. I'm tiny. Riley's medium, and Sophie is, I think, 6'1". She's a guard.
Why would this be offensive to a women's league? Why would your shirts be offensive?
Wow. Why would the brand be offensive? Why would the headlines be anti-trans brand? We are a pro-woman brand. We stand up for female athletes even when it's hard. We've only been around 2 years, and I started it because I looked around at all the athletic brands in the market, and they pretend to stand up for women. They make money off of it, but they don't do it at all. Nike treats women with astonishing disregard repeatedly, over and over again. They had a young woman in 2018 named Mary Kane. She was the best young runner in the world. She entered their running training program, and they emotionally abused her to the point of her wanting to commit suicide. Literally, Benny. They had to shut the program down because of the widespread abuse. So here's this brand, this brand also featured Dylan Mulvaney, trans superstar, in an ad for running bras. Like, this is a brand that treats women like garbage. And so I wanted to start a brand that actually fights for women and female athletes and fights for fair competition. So that's what we're doing. It's, I don't know why they would take this statement of truth. There's XX and there's XY. There are men and women as a negative, bigoted. It is pro-woman. That's it. But the WNBA seems to be stuck in 2020, if you ask me. Like, the culture has moved. I have been to several of these events now, and I will tell you, there's a celebration outside of the arena, and it is cross-cultural, across the political divide. There are Democrats, there are feminists, there are Republicans. It's everyone who believes in fair competition for their daughters. And the WNBA is just stuck 5 years ago, and they are beholden to an ideology, and they have an agenda that has nothing to do with basketball.
This is very interesting. Do they ban shirts like this? Here's a what is this? Let trans play shirt. Trans kids belong in sports. Yeah. So this would be, of course, the actual radical shirt, right? So this would be like, let men beat up on women's shirt, and you can see it's right there courtside, I believe, right? This is like right up on front. This would be clearly visible on national TV if you're watching or in the stadium. And so this is like this is the actual anti-woman shirt, the very radical shirt. But this shirt wasn't banned, and they didn't Sharia law this girl. They Sharia lawed them.
Not only was it not banned, they showed it. I was watching on television. I wasn't at this game. They showed her repeatedly, which is a purposeful move. We know they do that on purpose. And no one's saying anyone doesn't belong. Just play in men's. I don't care what you think you are. You have to play in the category that you are. That's all it is. There are actually players in the WNBA right now that identify as non-binary and trans. They're women. No one cares. Play in the women's league. You're a woman. So there are reports, Benny, that shirts like that were also people wearing shirts like that were also asked to cover up, but none of these people have come forward. So I think it's a lie, frankly. I think the WNBA is trying to pretend that they were kind of being fair and balanced. But this woman was featured on TV like at least 10 times. I watched it with my own eyes. So I don't believe for a second they asked people wearing shirts like that to cover up. And, the Minnesota game I was at, the coach of the Lynx wore a shirt that was similar to that was shown, obviously, there you go, on television a gazillion times. And she had to have approval from the league to do that.
So it's remarkable. They're clearly taking a political stance here.
Totally.
And the question that I have, and perhaps I misheard you in your last answer, so would you mind clarifying? Did you just say that there's men currently playing in the WNBA? Do you know that?
No, I did not say that. I said there are women who identify as non-binary. I don't believe in any of that, but
sure.
But my point is they say they are trans. So there's nothing, we don't have any problem with that, our side. They're women, play in the women's league. You see what I'm saying? Like no one has an issue with how anyone identifies. You have to be biologically XX female to play in the women's league. Otherwise, it's not a women's league, right?
Of course. That's exactly right. So why doesn't the WNBA just define it like that? Sex assigned at birth, DNA test. Why? It's like a 5-cent DNA test, by the way. It's like not even expensive.
It's a great question. And as you probably know, the International Olympic Committee, which is the most influential sports governing body, in January said they were going to test for sex starting in the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles. The Women's Tennis Association just 2 weeks ago said the same thing. And all the best players in the world, Sabalenka, everybody came out and said, we support this. We want their competition in tennis. It sort of went without notice because of the hubbub right now in the WNBA. And, you asked the question earlier, are there men playing in the NBA? Are there males? We don't know. How do we know? They don't test for sex. So, and I don't think we should wait until there are. We don't wait until there's a performance-enhancing drug problem to test for drugs. They test for drugs. And you're totally right. All they have to do is announce that they're going to test for sex when somebody enters the league. It's a cheek swab. It's totally not invasive. It's much less invasive than say, a drug test, which has to be done repeatedly. And then you're good. And here's the irony of it all, Betty, is anyone in the WNBA, if they're going to play in the Olympics, they are going to get tested. If they are going to play in other leagues, they are going to get tested. And so I don't know I do know. The WNBA won't just get on board with where this is going. All of the major sports governing bodies are moving here. They won't do it. And that is because I think there's two reasons. They do have an agenda that has nothing to do with basketball, that is very political. And I suspect there may be males in the league, and they don't want that exposed.
Because then they would prove themselves to be fraudulent, right? I think it would be that would be probably the biggest sports scandal in a very long time.
Well,
in a very, very long time.
They'd certainly have to let Ennis Freedom enter the draft if that were the case.
They would. They wouldn't. They'd have to answer a lot of questions, right? They'd have to answer for a lot of injuries and a lot of real touchy political questions, real tough stuff.
I feel like, but honestly, if they stand by this idea that quote unquote trans women are women and they have males in the league, which may not be trans identified males, but men with differences in sex development, then they should stand by it. They should be proud of it. They should let Ennis play. But they
that's exactly right. They're woke and they're just allowing anyone to play, but then they're attacking the men that are joining the league instead of putting in safeguards to ensure that women can play. So it's
the whole thing makes no sense.
The whole thing makes
ideology
it makes no sense. It's great that you're calling it out. I want to put you on the spot here because I want to ask.
Okay.
I just love it. I love this kind of stuff, and you clearly seem to like it as well. Why don't we do our own? Like, I'm not going to sign up for the WNBA. I'm no good at basketball. They probably would actually beat me. And I don't want to. I don't want to be around Angel Reese. Can I just say that? Like, I don't want.
Sure.
Those eyelashes are dangerous. But why don't we try and do like a XXXY blackout at like a WNBA game and do like a whole section where people are wearing these shirts, and it's sort of like, why don't we do like 100 seats and have people like actually wear the shirt? Like, we should do that. That would be really fun. Like, it's not just like a one-off like couple that you can put a hijab on. It's like a whole section, right? And we should totally do that with your brand. That'd be neat.
That would
be really
neat.
fun. That'd be very viral. It'd be very viral. It'd be very fun.
We have been, I shouldn't say we, because there have been celebrations outside of arenas at, I think, maybe 7 games now. Some of them I've been to, some of them I haven't. Like, this has taken off. It's its own thing. And most of the people are wearing our shirts because we're sort of central to the movement at this point. And I should mention, we make more than t-shirts. We do make sort of high performance training gear and all of that, but that's an aside for now. I will tell you, I am going to the New York Liberty game this weekend. It is Saturday. Indiana Fever versus New York Liberty in Brooklyn. And we might not have an entire section, but we have a lot of people going. So we're going to get real close to your idea.
Okay, that's good. Where is that, in Indiana? Where is that?
It'll be in Brooklyn at Barclays.
Okay. Oh, very interesting.
So it could get a little feisty.
Very interesting. All right, we'll put up the website right now. Let's go ahead and look. Here's the XXXY website. You can see that they do have not only this shirt, which is being worn right now, has become quite iconic, but a bunch of other fascinating and really top-notch apparel. And you said you were an athlete, right? So you know what you're doing here.
I was a national team gymnast, national champion in 1986. I was also the first whistleblower about abuse in gymnastics all the way back in 2008. So I've been standing up for female athletes for 20 years. I care a lot about girls being able to compete and train safely. And this is part of that for me. I also spent 23 years at Levi's partly as the chief marketing officer and brand president. So I know how to build a brand. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, looks amazing. Klein, can you navigate just to the front page here? Just click on the logo up at the top and just show there's just a really wide range of brand apparel here. It's awesome. Just scroll on down. There you go. And you can see here. Okay. Plenty to fill if you have a humble home gym like I do. And if you're out every single morning trying to not be a fat dad, that's me. That's my like, be able to still play with my kids. Okay. Eventually my kids will overtake me in strength and speed, but try and extend that timeline as far as I possibly can. Right?
Love it.
That's right.
Good for you.
Okay. Okay. Well done. This sounds amazing. We look forward to seeing what happens this weekend.
Watch New York and watch tomorrow in Dallas. There's going to be a lot of people there too. I won't be there, but there's going to be a bunch of people at the Dallas game tomorrow in Dallas versus the Fever. So tune in.
Oh, really? In Dallas tomorrow? Okay. Well, great. Jennifer Say is right here. You can follow her. She's got hundreds of thousands of followers right here. And you can sign up and you can check out her brand. It is xx-xyathletics.com. Thank you very much, Jennifer.
Thanks so much. It's really nice to meet you. Thanks for having me.
Same. Yo, man, are we going to be able to make the Dallas game tomorrow? We're going to Lubbock. That's too far away. I don't know. Who knows? We're excited to go anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, the grocery aisle is very expensive, and it's obscene that people don't talk about this more. The prices of groceries have skyrocketed. Ground beef is up nearly 80%. Pretty much everything from cereal, milk, eggs, all of it has doubled in price, and that's a function of inflation. It is a function of our federal government just deciding that 5% inflation is just going to be the thing. It sucks. Buy gold. Just buy gold today. Buy things that are not going to inflate to absolute worthlessness. Everything gets reduced over time to its core elements. Your chromosomes, right? You can boil yourself down to the basic atoms, right? And 1,000 years from now, an archaeologist or whatever, an AI robot would be able to find your bones and do a study and find out who you are. They'd also be able to find gold. They'd be able to find your gold. And that's because it will last. The money that is printed on paper will not last. So invest in gold just a little bit today. It's at a very attractive price right now. I trust it. Advantage Gold is who I trust. Text Benny to 85545. That's Benny to 85545 today. Get your free gold investment kit and learn how a simple IRS-approved way to move your 401k or IRA into physical gold tax-free. Text Benny to 85545 today. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's our rip-roaring show for the day. Crazy and fun. We have let's see, Poly Market here. Let's go ahead and check in. We were talking a lot about Jon Ossoff. Is Jon Ossoff going to be the Democrat nominee in 2028? Look at him polling pretty well here in the prediction markets. He's pretty much at parity with AOC and Gavin Newsom now. They're the same. AOC has shot up, actually, and switched places with Gavin Newsom. Jon Ossoff is way up in there. And so what does that tell me? That tells me that the fix is in. It tells me they already have this whole thing planned, and he's already got the Obama logo. Jeez, what a scumbag. Okay. Verse of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Whatever happens, we know God's got us. Galatians 6:9. Let us not become weary in doing good, for the proper time we'll reap the harvest if we do not give up. That is the most important thing. Don't give up. What's the success story of every single successful man or woman on earth is that they just didn't give up. Don't give up on your marriage. Don't give up on your kids. Don't give up on your country. Don't give up on your friends. Don't give up on your business and your dreams. Don't give up. In fact, push the pedal down when things get hard. View that as a core challenge, a core memory. View that as a crucible cycle that God puts all of his faithful through. You're going through tough times. I know it's hard to say, but if you can view it as a blessing, as a canon event in your life, then you can accelerate right out of that and know that this is what makes great movies and great stories. So do not become weary of doing good. In the proper time, we'll reap a harvest if we do not give up. Ladies and gentlemen, a beautiful verse for a beautiful day. It's your boy Benny. Thank you for marching on with us. On to freedom and victory. See ya.
As I was sailing, seeking my ocean, I spied that cold algo in the chicks they was scheming. First you do your blood tip, I called your bills, your water, and guess what? The deep will drag you under. And the devil take that algo, cocking me cannons in your body, check 'em with both the barrels. Guess what? Guess what? Everything will be okay. Guess what day it is? It's hump day.
The biggest ships in the sea, all owned by the oldest kings, and their dying legacy, media deal weeds. Soon will the Benny Show come to mind us all from lives for fun. Leave the gold and bring the gun, we sail for #1. Come to mine the salt from lids for fun. Leave the gold and bring the gun. We sail for number one. The biggest ships in the sea, all owned by the oldest king.